Hi folks, I'm Dan Dworkis, and this is the Emergency Mind Project, a space where we bring together lessons from the emergency department and beyond about performance when it matters the most and applying knowledge under pressure. In this critical concepts video, we're going to dive deep into a core idea or mental model that we use in the Emergency Mind Project, and we're going to do it in about 5 minutes and about 5 slides. Ready? All right, let's get to it. All right, folks, our model today is the prepare, perform, recover, and evolve cycle. And it's one of the most key formative models we use in the Emergency Mind Project. So there's a lot to learn here. Let's dive right in. The problem is that high performance is about more than just performing well, right? We tend to hyper focus on the moment of performance and ignore the whole system it takes to make that performance happen. Now, this mirrors what we know happens when we get into crises in general, which is that when humans get into a crisis moment, like in this case, a cardiac arrest, we tend to develop tunnel vision and hyper focus on one thing, whatever that skill is we're actively trying to do at the moment. In this case, fire the defibrillator or decide to not fire the defibrillator. We hyper focus on that one thing and we lose sight of the broader picture. The same thing happens temporally when we think about performance. We want to develop high-performing teams, but we tend to hyper-focus on the moment of performance. So enter the prepare, perform, recover, and evolve cycle. Now, what this cycle tells us to do is look broader, look outside, and think about the whole scope of what's happening, to look outside the moment of just performance. All right, let's apply it. So let's go back to this cardiac arrest scenario, and we can apply it at 2 different levels. First off, when the level is a particular skill or thing that needs to happen. So let's imagine the performance we're trying to do is back to that defibrillator, and we're trying to identify a rhythm and decide whether or not to fire the defibrillator. Okay, that's the performance we want. Well, before that, we have to be prepared to actually execute on that. What that means is we need to study. We need to learn the different rhythms. We need to learn how to use the defibrillator. And there's a link here to the idea of applying graduated pressure, right? We want to prepare in a low wedge, low pressure environment so that we can perform in the higher wedge environment. After we decide to fire the defibrillator, we need to recover. Now, that might mean recovering our focus, looking at the rest of the patient in our team and figuring out what's going on. Or it might mean stepping our heart rate down, getting back to homeostasis and our more general sort of less sympathetic driven system. After the whole thing is over, we want to evolve. We want to ask ourselves, hey, what happened there? Was that the right move to do? If it was, great. How can I do it better and faster next time? If not, okay, what am I going to learn from it? How am I going to use this in order to drive my performance forward? Now, if we zoom out a little bit away from a particular skill, we can think about performance as the entire team delivering high-quality cardiac arrest care. Let's say that's the performance level we're looking at. Well, in that case, preparation has a lot to do with the individuals, but also with the system as a whole, right? So preparation is making sure there are stocked code cards ready to go, making sure all the individuals on the team have training, not just in their individual skills, but in communication, teamwork, and high-stakes communication like that, high-stakes shared mental model problem solving, let's call it. Right? The moment of performance is delivering cardiac arrest care, and then afterwards, the whole team needs to recover. Now, logistically, that might be stuff like restocking the code cards, getting another round of tools ready to go. It might also mean stepping down and thinking with your team, hey, are we okay? Is everybody all right? What do we need to come back to our collective baseline? After that, we want to think about evolution. This is where we're doing after-action reports, we're doing debriefs, and we are trying to learn from what happened in order to get better for the next time we run a cardiac arrest. Now, this is really the link here to the model of never wasting suffering, right? So there's a fractal nature to the prepare, perform, recover, and evolve cycle. We can apply it to an individual technique, or we can apply it to an overall episode or a shift or something broader like that. The punchline, no matter what you apply it to, is the idea that high performance is more than just performing well, right? If you want to be able to do a skill, or if you want to be able to have a successful team, you have to think outside the moment of performance, right? So here we go. Prepare, perform, recover, and evolve. Think about the whole cycle when you're doing this. So what's your challenge? Well, your challenge is to ask yourself, where are you hyper-focused on performing? Right? Where are you hyper-focusing on performing? Now, the chances are there's a lot of these things, right? Because most of us tend to over-focus on the moment of performance itself. But when you can identify one of them in particular, I want you to run through the cycle and look more broadly at this, right? So if there's a moment where you're called upon to perform, ask yourself, what do I have to do before that moment to set up? What do I have to do to prepare to be able to actually execute at the level and skill set I want to in that moment? What about the moment afterwards? How do I come down from that moment? How do I come back to my normal baseline and get ready to do it again? What does it take to recover from that moment? And then finally, evolution. How do I learn from that thing that happens, right? How do I learn from that performance in order to get better, to never waste the suffering, both for me and for my team? How do I get better and get ready to do it again the next time? So there you go. Prepare, perform, recover, and evolve. The PPRE cycle. Now, quick sidebar, if I was better at marketing, I might call this the PrEP cycle, because PrEP is a little bit easier to remember than PPRE, but we're going to stick with PPRE for two reasons. One, I'm more of an ER doctor than I am a marketer. But two, the whole point is it's not just about performance, right? So it doesn't make sense to put performance at the beginning of this. So here you go. Prepare, perform, recover, and evolve. There you have it, your critical concept for today. If you want to get more involved with the Emergency Mind Project community, we would absolutely love to have you. There are so many ways to dig in and become more of a part of this. The easiest thing to do is go to emergencymind.com. You can contact us, reach out, see what's going on, sign up for our free newsletter, and take the crisis skills test, which you can find at the upper right corner up there. It's free, it's awesome, and it gives you a chance to rate your skills and your habits against those of some of the highest performers across a wide variety of disciplines. All right, good luck out there.